Have you ever felt that quiet shift? That cold, subtle change in her energy? And you couldn't explain it, but something inside you just knew? Something wasn't right? You replay the conversations. The laughs feel forced now. The eye contact, shorter. The warmth, gone. And the worst part? You start blaming yourself. Maybe you weren't enough. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you pushed her away. I know that feeling, and I'm going to warn you right now. The final sign we're about to uncover is incredibly powerful. It can change everything fast, and almost no one sees it coming. I'm here with you. And this is Her Emotional Secrets, where we uncover the real psychology that creates desire. Listen closely, because this was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. What you're experiencing isn't weakness. It's a lack of awareness of hidden emotional patterns. Women don't always communicate with words. They communicate through shifts, through energy, through behavior changes that happen before logic even catches up. And when cheating happens, those shifts don't hide well. They leak out fast. This isn't about catching her. It's about understanding the signals so clearly that you stop second guessing yourself. Because once you see them, you don't chase clarity anymore. You become the man who understands it. Here's the truth. Attraction and behavior are driven by deep psychological shortcuts. Evolutionary wiring, dopamine spikes, emotional safety, mystery, validation loops. When those patterns get disrupted, her behavior changes immediately. Not slowly, immediately. Let's break it down. The first shocking sign, she becomes emotionally distant overnight. Not gradually, suddenly. You'll feel it. She used to lean into you, laugh easily, share details about her day. Now, she's guarded, quiet, slightly irritated for no reason. You ask simple questions and get one-word answers. This isn't random. When a woman invests emotionally in someone else, she subconsciously withdraws from you. It's not a decision. It's a shift in emotional allocation. And here's where most men fail. They chase harder, they ask more questions, they seek reassurance, they try to fix it. Wrong move. This is where masculine presence matters. It's not about looks, it's about grounded energy. You don't react emotionally, you observe. Instead of saying, so what's wrong with you? You step back. You slow down, you watch patterns. You remain calm while she becomes inconsistent. That contrast reveals everything. Calm reveals truth. Second sign, she becomes overly defensive, fast. You mention something small, a change, a delay, a missed call, and suddenly she snaps. Not normal irritation, intense defense. Why? Because guilt creates hyper-awareness. Her brain is already scanning for threats. So even neutral questions feel like accusations. You say, hey, you've been distant lately. She hears, I know what you did. And she reacts accordingly. Here's where emotional challenge comes in. You don't argue. You don't explain yourself. You lightly pull back, maybe even smile. You say, relax, just noticing patterns. That's it. No pressure, no escalation. Confidence disrupts defensiveness. Third sign, her phone becomes a fortress. Before, her phone was just a device. Now, it's guarded like a secret vault. Face down, always with her, passwords changed, notifications hidden, and when she texts, she angles the screen away. You notice it. But again, most men react wrong. They demand access. They invade privacy. They panic. And that instantly lowers your value. This is where selective attention becomes powerful. You don't obsess over her phone. You focus on your life, your goals, your routine, your purpose. You become slightly less available. not as a game, as a reality. Because a man with options doesn't chase certainty. He attracts honesty. Scarcity creates clarity. If this is making sense so far, hit subscribe and join her Emotional Secrets community. It helps more men learn what they were never taught. Now listen carefully. The fourth sign, she starts rewriting your history. This one hits deep. Suddenly, things that were fine before are now problems. She brings up old arguments, old mistakes, old moments that never mattered before. Why now? Because the mind seeks justification. If she's crossed a line, she needs to reduce internal guilt. So she rewrites the story. You were never really there for me. You don't understand me. It hasn't been the same. These aren't just complaints. They're emotional exit strategies. And here's where intentional listening changes everything. You don't interrupt. You don't defend. You listen. Not to respond, but to understand patterns. You notice repetition, emotion, timing. You say, interesting, you never felt that way before. That's it. Awareness exposes inconsistency. Fifth sign, sudden image upgrade. New clothes, new style, new energy. But not for you. That's the key. She puts in effort, but it's not directed at your connection. It's external. This isn't about self-growth. It's about impression management. Someone new is watching, and she's responding. Here's where calibrated vulnerability matters. You don't accuse. You don't say, who are you dressing for? You simply say, you've changed your style. Looks good. Then pause. Let silence work. A confident man observes without insecurity. Mystery reveals truth. Sixth sign, her schedule becomes unpredictable. Before, you knew her rhythm. Now, it's chaos. Late replies, sudden plans, vague explanations. I'm just busy. With who? Friends. Which friends? No clarity. This is controlled unpredictability, but used against you. So you mirror it correctly. You don't chase her schedule, you build your own. You say, cool, I've got things going on too. And you mean it. Your life doesn't pause for uncertainty. And here's the shift. When you stop chasing, patterns become obvious. When you detach emotionally, reality becomes clear. Now listen, the final sign, the one almost no one understands. She becomes overly nice suddenly. This confuses most men. You expect distance, coldness. Instead, she's sweet, attentive, almost perfect. Why? Compensation. Her mind is trying to balance guilt, so she overcorrects. Extra compliments, random affection, sudden kindness. But it feels off, because it is. It lacks depth. It lacks presence. It's performance, not connection. And here's where gradual physical touch reveals everything. You initiate light contact, a hand on her arm, a brief touch. Watch her reaction. If she's emotionally disconnected, her body tells the truth. She stiffens, pulls back slightly, hesitates, because physical connection requires emotional alignment. And if that alignment is elsewhere, you feel it instantly. The body doesn't lie. Now step back for a second. None of these signs alone prove anything. But together, they create a pattern. And patterns don't lie. Here's what matters most. You don't need to confront aggressively. You don't need to control. You don't need to beg for honesty. You need awareness. Because awareness gives you power. And power changes how you move. You stop reacting emotionally. You start observing strategically. You stop chasing reassurance. You start trusting patterns. This is where your identity shifts. You're not the guy who gets blindsided. You're not the guy who ignores red flags. You're the man who sees clearly and moves accordingly. And listen carefully. These are real tools. not tricks. Use them with respect, with intention, not to manipulate, but to understand. Because the goal isn't to catch her. The goal is to never lose yourself in the process. You don't need perfection. You need strategy. You don't need to be louder. You need to be sharper. You don't need to control her behavior. You need to understand it. And when you do, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You react differently. And women feel that deeply. Because most men operate on emotion. Very few operate on awareness. Be the rare one, the grounded one, the one who sees patterns before they become problems, the one who doesn't chase clarity because he already understands it. That's power, that's presence, that's attraction. If you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming the man women genuinely desire, subscribe to the Her Emotional Secrets now. Turn on notifications because the next one will shift your reality again.